All right, if you're a business leader in Kenya, let's be honest, your website is either your most powerful sales tool or it's a very expensive digital brochure. So in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how to make sure it's the first one, a high-performing engine that drives real leads and revenue in 2025. Let's dive in.
First things first, let's start with the most critical question you can ask. Is your website really built for Kenya? And I'm not just talking about having a .co.key domain name. I mean, is it fundamentally designed for how your customers here actually think, browse, and most importantly, buy? You see, the digital landscape in Kenya is unique. Your customer isn't sitting at a desk on a big monitor. They're on their smartphone, scrolling with their thumb, and they expect seamless mobile money options like M-Pesa to just work. If your site is slow or clunky on a mobile connection, you've lost them before you even had a chance.
So how do we solve for this? It all starts by understanding the anatomy of conversion. We need to get really clear on what a good website actually does for a B2B company in this market. A high-converting site really only does 3 things, but it does them incredibly well. First, it instantly explains your value. What do you do and what result do you get for your clients? Bam. Second, it builds trust within seconds. We're talking client logos, case studies, things that show you're the real deal. And third, it guides the visitor to one single, super obvious next step, like booking a demo. Zero confusion, total clarity. And to make those 3 things happen, you have to live by these design principles. Mobile first isn't just a suggestion, it's a requirement. It forces you to focus on what truly matters. Your text has to be scannable. Think big, bold headings and bullet points. And finally, speed is everything. Your site has to load in a flash, even on a spotty mobile network. You know, this quote from the usability expert Jakob Nielsen is basically the golden rule of web design. Users scan, not read. People don't read your website like it's a novel. They hunt for keywords and phrases that solve their immediate problem. Your job is to write for the scan, not the read. Okay, let's get practical. It's time to talk about the 2 questions that every business leader asks. How much is this going to cost, and how long is it going to take? So here's a rough look at the typical investment for 2025. A simple landing page can be quite affordable. But for the kind of serious B2B corporate site we're focusing on today, you're usually looking at a range of about 110,000 to 800,000 Kenyan shillings. That build will likely take somewhere between 6 and 12 weeks. And that big price difference, it really just comes down to the scope and complexity of the project. So where does that money actually go? Let's take a typical 300,000 shilling project as an example. Now, development and design are, of course, the biggest chunks of the pie. But I want you to pay close attention to that 15% for strategy. That slice right there is crucial. It's the thinking that makes sure the other 85% is spent effectively, and not just on building something that looks nice but doesn't actually work. All right, let's talk tech. Your next big decision is the platform, and this is a really critical choice. It pretty much boils down to a showdown between WordPress and the more modern SaaS builders. To really get the picture, just look at this number. A staggering 43% of all websites on the entire internet run on WordPress. This sheer dominance is why it's the default choice for so many agencies in Kenya. There's just a massive ecosystem of tools and talent built around it. This slide really lays out the core trade-off. On one hand, you've got WordPress, which offers just incredible flexibility for custom features. But all that power means it needs regular maintenance. On the other hand, you have SaaS, or software as a service builders, like Wix or Webflow. They're super fast to build with and have less upkeep, but you might trade some of that deep customization and could hit a wall later on. So here's a really simple rule of thumb to help you decide. If your business needs deep, custom integrations and you want full control over everything, WordPress is probably your answer. But if your main priority is just getting a professional-looking site to market as fast as humanly possible, then a SaaS builder is a fantastic option. So you've got your strategy, you've picked a platform. Now you need the right team to actually bring it all to life. Let's talk about how to select the best web design partner right here in Kenya. When you're vetting an agency, please use this checklist. Don't just look for pretty designs. Ask for B2B case studies with real, measurable results. They absolutely must have a documented process, be crystal clear about who owns the website after the project is done, and, most importantly, provide references that you can actually call. And just as important, you need to watch out for these red flags. If the scope feels vague or there's no written contract, walk away.
If they guarantee you the #1 spot on Google, they're lying. And if they have no plan for what happens after the site launches, things like security, backups, and maintenance, they're not a long-term partner.
Okay, that's a lot of theory. But what does a truly conversion-focused website look like in the real world? Let's make this tangible.
I want you to imagine this. A website for a B2B finance software provider. Their homepage doesn't just say, "Welcome to our company." No way. It has a powerful headline that screams a result, like reduce client onboarding time by 40%. Right below that, there's a big, clear button to book a demo, and a few client logos to build instant trust. Every single element is engineered to drive one specific action. That is a site that works.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought to really think about. Take a hard, honest look at your current website. Is it just a digital brochure that exists online? Or is it an active 24/7 employee that generates leads, builds trust, and drives real revenue for your business? Because the answer to that question, well, it could change everything.